Yeah, yeah. This is a freaking must. Course creators, mastermind owners, you've got to listen to this episode. What's up, FlowChat fam and sales centers? Listen, this is for all course creators, for mastermind leaders, or if you've been thinking about creating this type of revenue stream in your business, this episode is for you. And we're joined today with special guest, a fellow FlowChat family member. He's going to be leading us through a tool that he's built, and this is something that we all need to be looking at and thinking about, because one of the biggest, fastest growing markets on planet Earth right now is learning, specialized learning. If you care about exploding markets and how to get your piece of that exploding market, this conversation is also for you. And you know what? One last thing about making today's conversation fun is, you know what's better than one Chris? Two Chris's. Chris Benetti, what's up, man? How's it going?
Doing fantastic, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We're gonna have a fun conversation. We first met in Austin. It was at Sharp and Stuff, right? Austin,
Yep.
Texas. But you don't live in America. Where are you based?
I am in sunny Perth, Western Australia, which is like right at the bottom of Western Australia, pretty much as far away as I can get from America.
Yes. And yeah, so he's like on the other side of the world right now. He's just starting his day. I'm just ending the day. But thank you so much for spending some time, because I know our audience is going to love what you have to share with them. Listen, we on Spotlight, this is all about finding real people that are solving real problems. And dude, you've completely had your sleeves rolled up, fully immersed in this area of like course creation and creating like mastermind owners that have their content all in one place, a members area. So the thing that I like to start with is just curious, man, why were you inspired to start pouring all your time, money, and resources in this direction?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of got to a point where not only was I frustrated that I wasn't completing content that I was purchasing, but I also saw like a massive shift in the industry. And by industry standards, only 3% of people who buy courses complete courses, which is kind of discouraging to me. Now, of course, everyone in the internet marketing space is different, right? Most cases we're not really immune to the industry standards, unfortunately. And because we're fantastic marketers, we actually sometimes often overhype the sell of the thing and don't actually look after the fulfillment of the thing that well. And so Members Pro really, it came to fruition from not only me being frustrated, but me also seeing the marketplace being frustrated and needing a better solution to help drive course completion rates up, results up. And ultimately, when you have higher completion, higher results, you basically create raving fans of yourself. And that actually creates a new marketing channel for you, word of mouth marketing, that is really the most effective kind of marketing, I think, in today's standards. So Members Pro really is just here to help people complete more, have a better experience as they're completing things, become engaged, become raving fans, and ultimately get results with the stuff that you're selling.
So powerful. And there's an element of community too. So there's like word of mouth, but being able to consume the content and like in one place obviously makes it a lot easier for consumers, for customers and clients. So, but like you didn't start with this project. Like when did you? I always like asking people how they got started with online businesses, because it's always a good story. So what year did you come online?
Technically, at the end of 2016 was when I first was introduced to the IM space.
That was the same as me, actually. So that's where you came online. And what was like the first ad or the first thing that like sucked you in?
That's a fantastic question. So I would say the first proper course that I did was by Anik Singhal, which is, I love following Anik Singhal. He's an amazing entrepreneur, the founder of Learn, LURN. And I actually bought it was like an email marketing affiliate program. It's called Inbox Blueprint. Came with the software and all the things. Anyway, I was still working away in iron ore mining, which is what I did straight out of high school.
I didn't know you did mining.
I'm actually a qualified mechanical fitter. So I did that for 5 years.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I
Wait,
was
you mean
literally,
like real labor?
yeah, yeah, like real
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The stuff that makes a big difference in the world.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I literally was like, away on at work. I used to fly away for 2 weeks at a time, work 13-hour days, and then
Holy cow.
have a very small amount of time to myself, and then basically just do that for 14 days on repeat, and then come home for a week. It's pretty gnarly.
That's
But
intense.
during work, I would literally just like go on the computer and watch Onyx training, on
Yeah.
my lunch breaks and stuff like that, and just study it and try and
Dang.
implement it.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't really get very far with many of the programs that I bought early on. However, it was just a fascinating mindset shift. And, a lot of the keystone sort of entrepreneurial books that we all start with, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and 4 Hour Work Week and all those things, was just like a radical shift in the way that I thought about things. And for the last year of my working history in the mining, I like literally would just not talk to anyone during lunch. I would just read books, and I pretty much read about 30 books that year. And then
Whoa.
I ended up getting fired in September of 2016. And then,
Dang it. They don't like you reading at lunch, apparently?
no, yeah.
Other details, I'm
Anyway,
sure. It's fine. I'm just
yeah,
messing. But yeah,
there's a
we'll
whole
skip it.
range of things there. But yeah, I pretty much then switched in and like just tried to start affiliate marketing for ClickFunnels. I somehow got on Russell's list, and that was when the affiliate bootcamp started. And
All right.
that was like my entry point to funnels and all of those kind of things. Anyway, I didn't really have luck there again, but that led me into doing an internship with a local digital marketing agency, and I slowly became their funnel guy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what my entry point into this whole marketing world was. And I'm super happy that it was, because yeah, it's been an awesome journey.
I like want to take a second just to hang there, because it is a journey to make it, to succeed. It's like, well, I bought the thing and what I got out of it was a mindset shift. And that kind of set me up to then actually even attempt to do an affiliate program, which led to actually getting a job which led to then starting your own agency, which led to then building your own, it don't just like wake up, today's Wednesday, or if you're in Australia, today's Thursday, and today's a great day to start a software company. Like,
Yeah.
that's just not how it goes. Like, in fact, and this, you and I, so I didn't realize the same, I came like end of 2016 is when I came online. It was actually a friend. It's like, hey, Chris, do you like the internet? It was Sean. I was like, dude, the internet, what's happening right now? What's happening? But I like just, spent money on my first program, which is some blogging thing that would help book calls for like taxi companies. And I was like, oh, it makes sense. This will be great. And then he's like, but Facebook does ads. And I was like, what? You can get like dollar leads, dollar lead doing Facebook ad. Like, this is great. So it was that mindset shift period. And then Russell shows up for both of us. Anyway, it's just funny the parallels. I'm like, why am I giving this guy thousands of dollars? Like, how did he get me to do this? And what's a funnel? So we come online, and before I knew it, I was building my first software company, and you're building one now. And it's a crazy story. It's fun. So that all being said, you find, there's digital marketing is like this giant sea of what are we, and you can use all kinds of boats to travel around. You eventually found kind of your spot, man. So we can talk about it, but it'd be a lot more fun to just show it.
Yeah,
Can
let's
you give
do
us
it.
a little? All right. So I'll let's pop it up here. Okay. There we go. So this is Members Pro.
This is Members Pro, and I'm going to just give a shout out to the person who owns this this membership.
Yeah.
One of my best mates, Ryan Bowles, he teaches
What's up, Ryan?
people who have Facebook groups to basically explode them, make more sales, make more money, get new leads, etc., from their Facebook group. So kudos to Ryan for having the prettiest Members Pro membership in the world. And I'm just going to do a little ego thing here. We helped build this, so that's probably why it's so amazing as well.
Yeah, listen, like on the create one in the middle on the right-hand side, how do you top unicorn emoji? I'm just
You
saying.
can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. And
Okay.
what other being in the world is more creative than a unicorn?
It's so mystical and powerful. And everyone listening, watching this, this is huge. The members area, we're going to go through a few things. Hey, why this matters, how to use this to create a better experience for your customers, clients, and how this will affect your business. So and why this over other options in the market. So this will be a fun conversation.
Mhm.
And Chris, yeah, excited for you to keep talking about it.
Yeah. So when your customer basically buys your program, most of the other platforms are it's kind of hard to get them started. With Members Pro, we really wanted to make sure that the security was there behind your program, so you're not just sharing like a link for them to go create an account, because then they can share that link with anyone, and anyone can create an account. Essentially, Members Pro basically make sure that when your customers are onboarded, they can sign up or they can get password and username delivered to them automatically, your choice. And then we also tie in security behind it. So if you're integrating this with one of your sales channels, we will ensure that only the person who purchased will be able to create an account and or log in without them being able to share or put your membership out there into the world. And so really onboarding your customer is so important, and that's where a lot of people fail. And so I really like to help educate people around, like, okay, once the sale happens, how do we not only easily onboard someone, but also make sure that we're being valuable enough in the onboarding. I don't know how many courses you've bought, Chris, where you've only gotten one email and it's an order confirmation, and then you never hear from the person again unless they're trying to market to you.
Yes.
That's been the case for 99% of the courses that I purchased. With Members Pro, we don't necessarily have the fulfillment email side built in beyond the initial logins, but I like to build content around, like, here's how you deliver your programs better. Here's how you write an email sequence to make sure that you're following up with customers,
right.
And helping them along the journey to completing your program. And I think that that's probably the first thing that most people overlook, and probably the thing that like no software will be able to do for you just yet. But Members Pro is on its way to making sure that customer journey is looked after really well.
Huge.
Okay, with all that said, once they get into your membership, how do we make it engaging? How do we make it colorful? How do we make it exciting to go through? How do we gamify progress? All of those kind of things come to mind. And again, there's not really many programs that really effectively do this. And right away, when we're looking at the dashboard here, we can see that I've completed 28% of this particular program, and also 25 over here, and the rest are sort of empty. You'll notice that the setup over here is locked as well. And so I'll explain that in a second here as well. But this platform is made for marketers, as well as people who care about fulfillment. And so I'll explain those two things in a little bit here as well.
Sweet.
Let's jump into the course. And each one of these is essentially built out as a category, but it's technically a course. And you can see the course, you can see the modules, you can see each of the lessons underneath the modules. And the reason why Ryan's got his in categories instead of courses is because this is a membership and it's based on a monthly recurring fee. And so he likes to make his whole dashboard expansive, not just have one little sort of course in there. And so he's built a course that has, like 40 modules or so. And he's gone and categorized it. And he's also structured it in a...
Can we hang on that just for a second? So when you say categorize, an example would be like, is this all one course categorized, or what are we looking at right now?
Yeah, so each one of these is a course technically in Members Pro. However, like I said, Ryan's selling a membership, and so it's like a bunch of different categories. So it's not like someone's going to log in and go, I need to complete this course, and it's linear. Some people definitely have linear programs, where in Ryan's example here, he more so has like areas that you can focus on, all relating to your Facebook
Got
group.
it.
And that's where the categorization comes into place.
So like a powerful, simple application of this is, you're selling some type of membership, and people are coming to you, and maybe there's one part. I mean, we've all gone through courses and we're like, oh, I want to go to like, this specific part. So when you go in here, it's like, oh, start. Okay, that's easy. Get set up. Okay, cool. Well, now we're talking about launch, grow, engage, create content. It's like, like I've already launched. In this case, he's helping build Facebook groups. So I've already launched my Facebook group. I'm already getting engagement. I just want some ideas around content. Well, let's just jump to the category, create content on the right-hand side. So it's like you can kind of consume the content in the order that you want to. That's cool.
Exactly. And it's really catered to, where you're at in your journey and how you want to go ahead and develop your program, or your group. And so, we've got apps and different extensions that you can use in the toolkit. And we've got different ways to sell. And this is actually the most prevalent sort of area inside this. And he really goes into, how do we effectively sell via DM, which, Chris, FlowChat definitely helps with that to an extent as well. But yeah, that's something that Ryan's really successful at doing with, selling his coaching program. Like, he is notorious for not jumping on phone calls to sell the program. And that's really awesome. So yeah, it's less on like the linear aspect and more on like the choose your own journey aspect. Everyone starts with start, and then from there they can basically choose where they're at, depending on where they're at with the Facebook group, essentially.
Love it. So good, man. Okay, cool. So like categorization you have set in place, and then if you hit, I'm just curious, if we hit play, it just pops up the video then?
Yeah, so we can click on continue, and this will just take off from where we last started or finished in the program. And then you can see here that we gamify progress by not only showing a progress bar, but also by checking off lessons that you've completed or you've marked complete. And then we also show where you're at as right now. Like that's silly to say, but a lot of people will just lose where they're at because platforms don't make it prevalent enough for people to know where they're at. And so as I go through the program and I watch add to call calendar, I watch fill out form, you can see here that we basically move from one module to the next. And as a nice experience, we close the previous module and we open the next module. And that's something really subtle, but it's a really nice customer experience because now they don't have a million things to focus on. They just have where they're at to focus on. And I think that's important for the customer journey because it makes them laser focused on what they're doing rather than what they could be doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So most of this content here is built out linearly inside the category. And so people can go through and, take it step by step. But if they ever wanted to, they can basically look at the course overview, which is this page, and they can also just choose where they want to, take off as well. They can, of course, click continue to go from where they last, started, but they can also choose, oh, cool, like today I'm just going to go into learning faster starts here right away.
Sweet. Okay, cool. Dude, that's easy. Simple's good. I like the categorization, so you can kind of decide where you want to go within the membership you just purchased, and then once you're there, you'll literally go through the process of what you're trying to what skill you're trying to learn or acquire. Any other like fun, cool things or trends that you've been noticing? Other Ryan or other coaches, consultants been doing with their members area?
Yeah, so the cool thing about delivering stuff here in categories or breaking it up in this sense is you can actually control the user's flow or what they have access to and how they can go into programs. And so we've actually termed a key terminology around ascending customers directly in your membership area, and what we call the ascension model. And we've had other customers, not just Ryan, like Stacy Martino uses Members Pro, and we've really helped her with this ascension model sort of area generate multiple millions in the back end from taking a customer from one program that they bought to another program. And it sounds simple, but essentially an entry point program like a challenge or like a free course or something, delivering that alongside a bonus program that is locked or can be basically accessed right away. That bonus program would then sell essentially the next step in the customer journey for them. And so I can't show you that today, but I can show you the context of what that looks like inside of what Ryan's got here. But
So
it is one of the most powerful upselling processes that you can implement.
I'm like, I love how sold I just got right there. So that all being said, if you're liking this conversation, and this is the perfect time, and you want to know what mysterious tricks Chris has up his sleeve, definitely reach out to him, man. Where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so you can email me at chris@memberspro.com. That's my personal email. Or find me on Facebook. My username is It's Benetti, ITS Benetti. And send me a message if you want to chat over there. If you friend request me, just send me a message, and that way I know who you are and to accept your friend request as well. So
sweet. And you said Chris at Members Pro, also the email. Did I spell all that right?
Yes, that's perfect.
memberspro.com. Okay, cool. So Chris at Members Pro, reach out to him and say, whoa, like the component that you just mentioned is insanely huge for any company, but really, really in software. So like the geeky, nerdy KPI is net retention expansion, which just means that the people that are with you, they don't just renew, they don't just, retain, they also spend more with you the longer they stay with you. And that is a, if every business is not focused on that number, that's a really good one to focus on, because your bank account will thank you. And obviously, in order to earn that, you're very focused on client success as well. And so it all goes full circle. Anyway, sorry, continue. You said there is some other like way or version that you could kind of share or tease us with a little bit here.
Yeah. So before I do, I just want to touch on what you just said there, and some base statistics that we've seen with Stacey's stuff. We know of all the people who join her challenge, 10% consistently will sign up to her core offer at $1,000. So with that baseline in mind, we know exactly how much we can spend on acquiring a new customer for the entry point product. Not only that, we also know the average conversion rate of people who buy the core offer and then upgrade to her high ticket or mastermind offer. And so ultimately, because we've got data over time, we're able to determine, okay, cool, we can spend up to $1,000 to acquire a customer just for a challenge.
Wow.
And we'll still break even after a year. And most of the people in the mastermind, it's not just a one-time fee, it's a yearly recurring fee, and it actually increases as well every year. It's like an ascension through the mastermind, like there's new levels every year kind of thing.
Is anyone else hearing this right now? Like,
yeah,
oh man, what would it be like? Like, oh, I'm paying $5 a lead, $10, $50 a lead. What if you could pay $1,000? Like, how aggressive could you be? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, that's
so
awesome.
Ultimately in that situation, you can absolutely outspend your competition, because probably your competition doesn't even know their numbers, but you definitely do. And you know that you can outspend them every single day because of how rock solid your ascension is. And this method that we're speaking about now, the ascension model, is something that we use to retire Stacey from doing webinar funnels. She used to run her webinar funnels like it was religion. Like she would go there every Sunday, she'd run her ads for the next week, and she would literally run that we did that for probably 3 years or so. We started working together in 2018, Stacey and I, and I helped overhaul her webinar funnel, and we basically hustled that for a year to 2 years. And it ended up seeing diminishing returns. It was harder and harder to get people into a webinar because people know what webinars are these days, and they don't want to show up and they don't want to participate. And so what we ended up doing was we switched the webinar being the entry point to the challenge being the entry point, and the webinar was the bonus program that they got alongside that. Now for Stacey, her webinar is actually very, very content-based, but also very effective at sort of ascension. And she has a 3-hour webinar. So we were able to actually take the 3 hours and break it up into 5 different lessons for the customer, and then just go through each stage in the webinar. So like your intro, your secret 1, your secret 2, your secret 3, it's standard perfect webinar format. And then to the, transition and close, right? And that format actually, it turns out that actually works as a very effective ascension course structure that will basically take any entry point customer or any like low ticket customer into buying your core offers at $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 quite effectively without them needing to jump on a phone or anything like that. Like you can literally just close people from your membership by selling your entry product. Now, of course, with the caveat of Stacey, again, hustled a webinar for a long period of time. So she kind of proved her webinar in terms of conversion and messaging and all of the things that you have to do to make a webinar work, of course. But with that said, it's still an effective ascension process to take someone through. And all she has to do is sell a $47 offer. She doesn't have to try and get someone to show up and all of the things that come with doing webinars. It's actually very complex to make webinars work. She just delivers it alongside her entry offer, and it just converts at 10% like clockwork. And we know the numbers now. So I hope that was good insight regardless. So if you switch back to sharing again, I'll show you how that's like structured in Members Pro.
Love to see that.
And so we have this really cool thing where if someone doesn't have access to something, we can change out not only the content, but the course cover image of the program that they don't have access to. And so all of these programs look unlocked except for this setup one right here. And that's because this is actually a course that I don't have access to. I could have access to it, but I don't. And so when I click into this, we're able to, again, change the content from being the unlocked and paid content to being the free, and I don't yet have access to this content. And you can have literally as much content in here as you want. You can almost create a free version of your course and a paid version of your course. And, you might have little like snippets of the paid version and then call to actions through every single lesson as an example. But what I would rather invite you to do is one of two different methods rather than just giving free content away. People usually won't take action with the free content, unfortunately. The best way to set up an Ascension course is to either create a webinar, get it converting, and then break it down into 4, 5, 6, potentially even 7 lessons, depending on how it's structured and all of those kind of things. If it's around an hour long, you'd probably do about 5 lessons, and take a customer through a journey in each of those lessons. Now, the cool thing with Stacey is, she actually expires her webinar bonus course, and it expires alongside the challenge. So the challenge is for 14 days. The bonus program will go away after 17 days. And we visually say this in her program. So people know that if they don't consume the webinar, they're going to lose the webinar. And it's not a webinar in their mind, it's a bonus program.
Yeah.
And so that actually drives a ton of urgency and scarcity to complete the program so that they get the value. And ultimately, it helps them with the journey of taking the next step with Stacey. So that's the first way. The next way, which is much easier but less effective, is what Ryan has implemented here. And that's called the overview method. And so if I look inside this particular lesson, Ryan basically goes through and does a tour of his Profitable Group Academy. He talks about what they could get access to. And this is everything locked out in this example. And so Ryan's got this Group to Profit starter course, which is like the entry point. It's a free program. And then they basically can see all the stuff that they could unlock if they became a paid member. And so this particular lesson is inside every single one of those locked courses. And of course, you can customize this per course so that you can get really creative with, okay, cool. This is what's inside the start program. This is what's inside the setup program. This is what's inside the launch program. And you can create a specific video for each one of those if you wanted to. In Ryan's example here, he's gone ahead and done like a generic, like this is what the PGA includes, Profitable Group Academy includes. And these are all the benefits, and these are all the case studies that I've helped clients with. And this is how we, help you grow your group and all of the things. And then we've got the call to action for them to go ahead and apply to join the academy, because he only wants qualified people. He only wants the right customers in there and all of that kind of stuff. And so you can start to see that, like, delivering a free program and then taking a customer through a journey, whether it's with a webinar or with an overview sort of method, and basically telling them how this is going to change their life and their business, and how you've proven that stuff. Basically, the standard marketing tactics of proving your offer, guarantees, etc. And it absolutely is just like there's no other platform doing it in this way. The only, most of the other platforms that do have relation to other programs that are there all just show the program and then they take you to an order form. With Members Pro, you can be smart about how you're marketing your next step in the customer journey. You can really go to the next level that your competition can't do to create marketing messages around the next step in the customer journey, and then you can take them on that journey with you. So it's damn effective, and this is the number one thing that I see our customers doing and having massive success at.
Woo! That's awesome, man. That's fire. Yeah. It's considering the customer, considering that journey from the beginning, and then just always knowing the next step. People want to be led. They want to be led, and anyone that talks about that or thinks about it, it's like when we have pain, when we want to problem solve, what do we want? Do we want to spend money and then spend time and then have to think and figure it out and hope it works?
Give me that solution.
I'm paying, I'll do whatever it takes. I just want this to be fixed. I want this to go away. And so speed and always being led, always being fed kind of the next, step is it's man, this was great. Had a great experience. I got this done. Now I get to have my, outcome, desirable result, increase in status, whatever it is. And I'm happy. So dude, that was really freaking cool to go through. So again, if you guys, if this is the stuff that you love geeking out on and going this direction, here's Chris's personal email, chris@memberspro.com. reach out to him, hunt him down on Facebook, and ask him some more of his wizardry and secrets around Members Pro, and then also just ascending people in your customer journey. It's a really, really insanely powerful metric for business. Hey, as we wrap up here, Chris, I always like to ask people, being an athlete, musician, entrepreneur, artist of any degree, there's this huge sense of vulnerability. You're putting yourself out there, you're putting your art out there, whatever it is, right? And so my question is essentially why? Why do you do it? And I'm always fascinated by people's stories and what drives them, what motivates them. And so, doing this, I selfishly get to ask and learn more about the people I think are cool like you. And so what drives you? Why put yourself out there? Why be vulnerable in your Members Pro art? Why put that into the world?
Yeah, so I think we all do this for ourselves to a degree. And for me, definitely, I wanted to do this for myself and my family and the freedom that I can create with it. And that's, I don't want to sound selfish, but that's number one for me, and creating the life that I want to create. The next thing is I really, really care about where the industry is going, and I really care about people and how people are able to get looked after and results, essentially. And so Members Pro and my other businesses, I'm kind of just sick of people getting mistreated and also not being looked after effectively. And ultimately, the journey at Members Pro is how can we make sure that our customers are doing the right thing by their customers, and how can we make it easier for them? Because ultimately, I think the reason why most people aren't doing it is because they're probably not educated enough to be able to understand how to do it, or it's too hard in some scenarios. It's too hard to think about how to write a fulfillment sequence and all of those kind of things. And so if we can build those kind of things into a platform that easily delivers that for them, just like what FlowChat's doing, how can we make conversations easier? If Members Pro can also do that stuff for our customers so that we can make experience easier, so that we can make fulfillment easier, so that we can make customer journey easier, if we can make all of those things easier so that people get results that they were promised and they essentially purchase. The reason why people buy stuff is because they were promised a result, or they can see the benefit of potentially getting a result. And so how can we actually make that a reality for the customers, rather than 97% of people who buy shit don't complete the stuff, right? That is really scary for me. And so like Members Pro, we're absolutely doing everything we can to make sure that people feel looked after, they feel communicated to, they feel like they have a sense of progress and community and support that other platforms can't provide, because they don't think that way. They're all thinking about, how can we create an all-in-one solution? How can we do marketing? How can we do webinars? How can we do email? How can we do membership? But like they don't have enough resources to be able to any one of those areas fantastically. They're doing everything fine, or they're doing everything good, but they aren't focused on one area and one specific core problem like Members Pro is. Members Pro at the end of the day, and you spoke about comparison to other platforms earlier on, Members Pro isn't trying to be an all-in-one solution for anyone. We're never going to be an all-in-one solution, unfortunately. So, for people who were hoping so. We are only going to focus on fulfillment and making sure that your customers have the best experience, complete the programs, feel looked after, feel support, feel community. And ultimately, when they buy stuff, they feel like they're getting massive value from what they've purchased, and they want to go through the program, get the results, and then share it with the world. That's the thesis around Members Pro. That's what we're focusing on. And that's how we're going to become the household name for memberships, because we're not trying to do all the other stuff. We're just going to focus in our lane, and we're going to be the perfect fulfillment hub that you can plug into any marketing or any communication channels that you might use right now.
So good, man. So good. Hey, I appreciate you for jumping on, sharing some value, sharing some time and love and energy with our audience and fellow fam, because you're the fam too, man. So I appreciate it. Any last thoughts or ideas, words, things you want to share?
Thanks for having me, man. It's been awesome. One quote that I really love, and I've just recently added this to my email signature: whether you think you can or can't, you're right. And that's by Henry Ford, I believe. So if you think you can do it, if you think you can't do it, you're right. So make sure you think about how things can be achieved. Make sure you think about how you can go out and change the world. And if you think you can, you can. You're absolutely right.
Dude, that one, it's so freaking powerful. Hey, Chris, thank you for coming out today. And thank you for listening. Sales Center FlowChat fam, thank you for listening, watching. Hey, we're going to continue bringing you the best, real people solving real problems, just like you and me, but on the front lines, cutting through all the BS, getting the real answers. Entrepreneurship can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. So this is the place you come to hang out, connect with all these, like-minded crazy people, making a difference. That, man, if we're going off that, if you think you can, you think you can't, you're right. I mean, we'll sprinkle a little Steve Jobs in there, like the people that think they're crazy enough to think that they can make the world a better place, or whatever, are often the ones can change the world. Are often the ones that do. Mm-hmm. There's something there. There's something in the air. So hey, appreciate you all. We'll see you on the next one.